Let's talk business. In the last episode, we were introduced with two basic methods of valuation. In this episode, let's talk more about the scorecard method or angel investor method. In this method, the investor compares the startup with similar business ventures. He picks up business ideas in similar industrial sector and similar geography. We need to make sure that the startup with which we are comparing ourselves is in the same development stage as well, because you cannot compare a startup which is just an idea on paper with another startup which has already started generating some revenues. The investor lists down criteria or characteristics of the startup which are important for him as an investor. For example, strengths and weaknesses of the founder and the team, size of business opportunity, level of sophistication of product or the underlying technology, competitive environment, and so on. Now the investor prepares a scorecard comparing the startup in question with other startups in his database. This scorecard will decide the valuation of the startup. Let's see a small example. Say the investor found 4 business ventures which are in similar sector, geography, and development stage. In recent rounds of funding, these 4 ventures were valued at different amounts. So the investor takes an average value of $2 million. Now the investor lists down criteria for the startup venture, or I would say critical success factors for the startup to sustain and grow. He gives percentage scores to each of these critical success factors based on how the startup compares to the average characteristics of the 4 business ventures in our database. For example, the startup in question has a strong founder, a strong management team, and the technology used by the startup is quite upgraded compared to the 4 startups in the database. There is no direct competition in the market, even though there are a few indirect competitors. However, the size of the opportunity of the startup is much smaller than the average size of the 4 startups in our database. So now in this example, the startup gets a score of positive 40%, and the valuation of the startup is concluded at $2.8 million. Of course, this is an oversimplified example. By the way, scorecard method or angel investor method is rather subjective. It largely depends on the investor's perception about these percentage scores for the startup. But for an investor who has a very limited financial expertise to go through complex formulae and calculations which are required for the VC method, venture capital method, the scorecard method at least gives him a logical basis to negotiate with the startup founder. In the next episode, we will discuss more about VC method, venture capital method. Till then, keep talking business.